We all use the internet to make daily decisions. From which movie to go see, what restaurant to eat at, or if that new book we heard about is worth buying, user reviews of products and services have become an integral part of the online consumer experience. However, consumers should be aware that the reviews they rely on a daily basis may actually be written and posted by the very people whose goods and services they were considering.
So, do you use online reviews?
I do. I both leave them and I attempt to go by them when making major purchases.
So you would
or buying books or reading books or
So you base decisions off of reviews?
I do.
Are you aware that about 1/3 of them are falsified?
No, I have read in reviews that might be the case.
So when you are shopping online or looking for restaurants, do you use online reviews?
I do, but I'm a little cautious because I sometimes feel like there's been plants, like the first ones are automatically going to be good no matter what, and so I usually try to scroll down a little bit just to make sure there's a sort of balance between
That's very smart.
the good and the bad, yeah.
Are you aware that about 1/3 of the reviews are falsified or paid for by business owners?
I've falsified a few reviews myself, so I'm fully aware of that.
Manipulated reviews are a growing problem for internet retailers and review sites. Research has shown approximately 30% of online reviews are in fact written by people who have been provided some kind of incentive to provide a positive review.
If you talk to people about faking an online review, I think most people would say they think that was a bad thing, but maybe they're not aware of how common it actually is. You know, it's been in the news lately, but I think by and large people are not consciously thinking about the possibility that what they're reading has been faked as they go to Yelp or read something in Amazon and so on and so forth.
Customer reviews of products and services on the internet are already an important part of e-commerce, and their influence is expanding. Traffic to the top 10 review sites grew on average 158% last year. 51% of consumers use the internet even before making a purchase in shops. Reviews on a site can boost conversion up to 20%. 7 in 10 people who read reviews share them with friends, family, and colleagues, thus amplifying their impact. And 92% have more confidence in info found online than they do in anything from a sales clerk or other source. With so much potential impact on businesses' reputation and the overall bottom line, it stands to reason that anyone trying to sell their products or services would want to be able to stack the deck. While large businesses have product and brand recognition, small businesses utilize review sites in order to create their brand and manage their reputations. Oftentimes, this is done by offering payment for positive reviews. Recently, we sat down with former paid reviewer Dale Spotswood to talk about her position writing reviews for local restaurants on multiple sites.
So what exactly was your job title and expectations then?
There is not a job title, I would say, for it, but I know I called myself the internet panhandler because I would we'll review for food, I guess.
Becoming a paid reviewer is more common than one would think. A quick Google search can yield multiple ads for paid reviewers on sites such as Craigslist, as well as reputation management companies that specialize in review creation. The job is also relatively simple.
It's basically what you do is you put a couple up there. It's like when you are at a party and you want people to start dancing. A couple people have to go out and on the dance floor. That's kind of what you do. You put up make a couple of different profiles. Thank you, and post on it, and then basically other people will start posting. So it's not like you're straight out filling up the entire review forum, but you're just getting other people interested, and then it pops up on search engines and stuff.
A recent New York Times article reports on a man who created his own online book reviewing business and generated up to $28,000 a month.
I think the more interesting thing actually are the online authors that have become very successful on the basis of paying for reviews, right? Like I am an author in the Upper Peninsula in Wisconsin, and nobody's going to read what I write if I self-publish it. But if I can pay a few people to write something nice about it, then maybe I'll get enough word of mouth such that somebody does actually read it. And there are a few cases like this where somebody went from being a nobody and having nobody that was willing to read their work to being very, very successful.
Not everyone sets out to be hired for this type of position. Employees are being approached by their superiors to create biased reviews.
So first of all, how did you come across the position you were hired for?
I was laid off during the Great Recession, and to keep myself employed at the corporation, I was. They asked me if I wanted to do some networking, social networking.
How did you falsify the reviews?
One of the companies I worked for, the manager had me look up online to see what our reviews were, if we were doing really well or not. And I was on there, and I was just like, well, why don't I fill out a review? So I did.
In Glasgow, at a branch of the Ramada Hotels, manager Frank Long encouraged his staff to write glowing reviews to combat a series of bad reviews they had been receiving on the site. A hotel executive for the Clarion Inn and Suites sent a mass email to his colleagues asking them to create reviews and specifically to avoid hotel language, or else the plan would fall apart. In a media world seemingly saturated with review tampering, news outlets are highlighting different ways to protect yourself from sponsored information.
More than half of you go online to review a product before you buy it, and that's very savvy of you, but some of those reviews are fake. Can you tell which ones?
So we've all seen these, and we kind of previewed it right before the commercial. You see the 3 stars, the 4 stars, thumbs up, thumbs down. But you see an influx of fake reviews as well. How do you, I guess, tell which are the good ones, which are the bad ones? What do you believe? What don't you believe?
Sure, it has a lot to do with influence. So here's the backstory. People don't want to waste their hard-earned money, understandably. So we put a lot of stock in. Did you really buy the item? Did you really go to the restaurant? Did you just stay at the hotel? What's happening is the better the reviews, the better the sales. That feeds on itself. So there's not a marketing plan out there that doesn't have how do we increase our favorable reviews.
Okay, so let's finish up with some tips about how to differentiate the good from the bad.
Yeah, it's not terribly difficult. There are a whole bunch of warning signs, the first of which is
watch out for marketing speak, I believe. Is that one of them?
That's one of them. And things like, I found this product integrates seamlessly into my life. I don't know about you, Jeff, but I don't write those kinds of things about products.
Yeah, who says that?
People on these sites, and they say that this is the kind of product I've been looking for. So that's probably someone who's pushing the product. You'll want to beware of a glowing subject line and wording. So most people I know don't write things that say, this product changed my life. Of course, it depends. If it's a medical product, perhaps, but certainly not a flat-screen TV.
Yeah, it's like, how's your life been, buddy?
Pretty much.
Unfortunately, we can't rely on mental shortcuts in deciding whether a review is real or fake.
So what steps, outside of the protective algorithms already in place that sometimes actually filter real reviews, do you think that people can do to protect themselves from these type of things?
Yeah, so unfortunately it just requires like work, right? Whenever you read Yelp reviews, the thought that's in the back of your mind is, do I trust this person in their review, right? And the only thing you can really do is to like start to assess the writing, like whether it's writing that suggests the person's like you or not like you, or then you can click through and see the other things they reviewed and try and triangulate from the other things they reviewed and the rankings they gave those places to see if they're somebody who likes things that are like you or not. But basically, all of these approaches towards literacy take effort. And the whole idea of relying on reviews and cues like that is to minimize the effort that you expend in selecting where you get your burrito from for lunch.
Even with the understanding of how to protect ourselves, there's still the underlying message that businesses are lying to consumers.
When you go to a review site, you're expecting somebody's honest assessment. And if it's been bought and paid for, then it's basically inherently duplicitous.
So, if consumers stop trusting reviews, what does that mean for the future?
Yeah, so I think people will just basically stop relying on rating sites or consumer information sites that have useless information. And this is a huge risk for like a company like Yelp or TravelAdvisor. Their entire business basically revolves around this database of user contributed reviews. And if at a certain point enough people decide that these reviews are not helpful, then they'll go elsewhere. And that's the end of that business.
At their inception, customer review sites were created with the intention of changing the dynamic between the business and the consumer. But in their current state, what is it that we're left with?